Hey everybody, welcome to Project Learn DIY. Today we're going to be working on building some horseshoe pits. First thing I'm going to do is mark out our stake holes, which we've already measured, and then we're also going to mark out the 3-foot by 4-foot pits so that I can get digging. Let's get started. So what I've got laid out here is our center peg, and then they're a little hard to see on the video, but I have marked out the border of where I'm going to dig for the pits. I'll get this one dug out, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here is take our garden weasel and break up the dirt. We're going to try to go down as far as we can. The boards we're using for the pits are going to be 5/4 by 6. So we want to make sure that there's a good, 3-4 inches that they're down into the ground so that they don't move around as much. Okay, so now that we got the ground loosened up, we're going to take our shovels and start digging out the dirt. Okay, so now that we got the basic shape of our pit here, I just need to go back and clean it up a little bit, make it a little wider so that there's room for the boards, and then I can backfill it. Okay, so now that we've enlarged the opening, we're going to go ahead and work on our depth. All right, so we're going to pull out the stakes, and then I'm going to take the pry bar and start getting rid of some of these rocks that we're going to hit. So this is an essential tool for digging in the mountains. This is a giant pry bar. I believe it's about 6 feet long, probably weighs about 20 pounds or so, and it is very, very good for removing rocks. If you can get a hold of one of these, it will help you out a lot if you're in a rocky area. So unfortunately, once in a while up here in the mountains, you run into rocks like that, make it a little harder to dig what you're trying to dig. Fortunately, that pry bar comes in really handy. Okay, so hopefully we won't run into any more of those guys. Let's keep going. All right, well, it looks like we got another one of those big guys. It's gonna take me a minute to get that out. When you're doing a project like this, always make sure you have lots of water. Alright, so we're going to smooth this out some more with the rock rake, and then we'll start compacting it. Okay, so now that we've got this all compacted down, you can see here, we're going to cut out our boards for our box. They're going to be 3 feet wide and 4 feet long. Once I get them all cut, I'll come back and we'll do some assembly. Okay, so now that we've got everything all cut, we're going to pre-drill some holes on the back piece to help countersink the screws, and then get everything screwed together. We'll level it off, and then once it's leveled, we're going to pull it out, put down some weed control mat, put it back in, make sure it's still leveled, and then we'll put our stakes in and get it in position before we start putting in the sand. All right, so now that we got it assembled, we'll get it in and get it leveled. I know you didn't get to see a lot of me screwing that together, but you know, screwing things together, you should all pretty much know how to do that. Just make sure you go in straight and get everything as flush as possible. Now let's get this thing leveled. Okay, so now that we've got it pretty much leveled and square, we're going to fill in back some of the dirt, and then we'll get the weed control mat down and get it in position to put the peg back in. Okay, now that we got it leveled, it's time to just kind of flatten it out a little bit and get some weed control mat down. Okay, so now that we've got the weed control mat down and our peg positioned again, we've got our boards positioned where they're going to be. We're going to put a couple stakes in to keep it from moving, and then we'll fill in with sand. Okay, so now that we got it halfway full with sand, we'll go ahead and put the peg in. Okay, so now we've got everything all backfilled in. You can see around the edge there. And we've got the stake in place. I was going to show it on camera, but with all the rocks and everything that I've run into, I wanted to make sure it would actually go in. So now we're going to fill the rest of the sand in, and then we can move on to the next pit. Okay, so we did about 9.5 bags of sand, or 8.5 rather, and I saved the other half bag to fill in the peg since I could only find hollow stakes. So we'll get that all filled up, and then we'll give you kind of a quick tour. I got to pull that front board out since there's no board usually in the front, and we should be good for a tour. Okay, so here's a tour of the finished pit. And we'll get the other one done and show you the whole thing when it's complete. So one of the pitfalls of digging up in the mountains is you run into things like this. Two giant boulders. Luckily, we had already gotten our pit created, and the crevice in between the two just happened to be dead center where we're going to put our stake. So real quick, here's another example of digging where we live. These are all the rocks that we pulled out to create this second pit. Okay, so we're ready for the final reveal of the horseshoe pits. We've got the second one all done now. Over here is the first one that we did. So we'll walk this off so you can see what it looks like. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. Hopefully this helps you when you want to build your own horseshoe pit. There's a quick tip. If you don't have enough fill to fill everything back in like we did, or if you want to make the ground nice and smooth, you can put mulch around as your throwing lanes, and that'll give you a nice clean look. Thanks for watching. To make sure you don't miss any upcoming videos, click the subscribe button and the notification bell. And to keep up with the latest, our social media links are here. See you soon.